like daggers in the mouth. Day one, practically, you know, and it doesn't help. You're not helping, and this will be done to you.
What you may not realize is that I'm an extremely traditional person. You got some kind of fundamental conflict with me, you know? I think you do. People like me should be allowed to breed, and we will produce more refined people for the future. You know, bring about a new reality.
All right. So I've been hanging out in the Olympics. The mosquitoes have been the least of my concerns. And I thought the salve I'd brought, you know, was sufficiently cloying to them, but turns out it wasn't the right stuff. I've previously, what did I use? Certain plant essences, the ranges these bugs. It's funny, you know, I've had two different species of insect fall out of the sky and land in my coffee cup. Now I know that the coffee plant, the caffeine is deranges. It causes derangement in the insects, and it's just a defense mechanism of that plant, to where, you know, those insects in the natural habitat where the coffee plant grows, they feed on it. They go off. It causes derangement, you know, in terms of their navigation, and they go off course, and maybe they don't eat so well for a while. And they may have a shorter lifespan, that kind of thing. But I hope that nothing was added to my coffee, some undetectable chemical. I mean, I don't seem to be very affected. This 5G, it's been able to reach me. I've been using some shielding. It's helped a little bit, but I mean, they've had me believing that there were people down in that creek bed. They'd come up the culvert pipe, which is big enough, of course. And they were just talking and talking and talking. I heard my channel name and all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't really wasn't really intelligible, but you know, got up a few times to investigate, and of course, you know, the telltale, there's that telltale ring, that little buzzing, you know, it lets you know this is just electromagnetically induced. There's really nobody there, you know. So they're able to do this, you know, they can do this with anybody now, you know. They don't have to be close to you with a microwave emitter. They don't have to be. I mean, they can induce a directed dream, you know, from half a block away if they have a powerful enough device. Of course, it's, you know, it's rather expensive. You know, they got to be in a van, and you got to hire people. I mean, in an apartment setting, it's a lot easier. It's more economical, and you know. So in general, I mean, apartments are not at all. Apartments are absolute death trap for a target-hearted individual. And then finally, when I woke up, I could hear the crunch of feet and the debris, like the shifting. You know how people shift when they stand, all around this place. And they gave me this little ultimatum, a reprieve. You know, like, well, there's this option, which we've approved. You know, because it'll allow us to impose some control over you, you know, through indirect means. You know, this is fourth generation warfare. It basically means any and all tactics are permissible. And they're trying, of course, right, to do this in the most economical way, using all these various forms of seemingness. You know, working with people's preconceived preconceptions, their prejudices. You know, influential art, all kinds of stuff. Every form of deception, all kinds of rumors, all kinds of, you know, they do this to set a person up for all these diminishments. You know, somebody who's telling the truth about something, somebody knows something about you know, about what they're doing. You know, bottom line, I mean, these people are just abusive people. They're just abusive scum with a superiority complex. You know, who deep down, I mean, they know that you know, they know the target is in some way superior to them. You know, and so they're acting out. You know, this they're acting out. You know, in concert with this gang. You know, that they're clicked up with. Well, it's just deplorable. You know, and backwards. And you know, I suppose that years from now, you know, their grandchildren, you know, if they happen to know the truth, they'll basically say, my grandfather, you know, oh, you know, maybe he had some good qualities, but you know what he was essentially, he was, he spent his days down in a dungeon, torturing people, torturing subversives, torturing, you know, insurgents, torturing these ready-made victims, you know, who are not essentially different than him. They were not, in essence, any different. They were human beings with a different perspective. And they'll say, they may acknowledge, well, you know, through his efforts, you know, I suppose we were able to springboard to this other level, you know, right, where we could recognize what had been done in our favor to advantage us, you know. But we don't want to be part of any of that, and we besmirch his memory. Or, well, he's right now, we have him in a nursing home. And you know what? We don't want to deal with him. We're going to just get rid of him through some means or another. Give him a little taste of his own medicine, you know? And you people think this stuff doesn't go on, you know? There's a million sordid histories out there. There's all kinds of stuff that has happened, that is happening. That has happened, I mean, even before the 1950s. You know, there are all these tangled developments, you know, branching out of off of World War II that came out as a result of World War II. You know, the Office of Strategic Services was composed by nothing but a bunch of criminal misfit cutthroat assholes. You know, because that's the kind of people you need to run these clandestine operations, to do this unconventional warfare over in Europe or, you know, wherever else they did it. And these people became the basis. I mean, they formed the CIA. Now, all these techniques have spread all across the land, all these different intelligence agencies, all these different, and then these people, you know, who work for those agencies, they go into private security. They go into corporate security. You know, they're doing all this stuff as part of this really extensive immune system that these fascists have. You know, and they're trying to protect all kinds of different interwoven interests. You know, and it's all about maintaining the status quo. You know, anything innovative needs to be suppressed. Any kind of exposition of corruption needs to be thwarted. That person needs to be made an example of. So I'm out here. I mean, I don't know that at the moment. I mean, well, there's been some things that have happened, you know, recently that have really have kind of set me back. You know, I mean, I guess it's all just grist for the mill, you know, in terms of my artistic endeavors, you know, things that I'm doing. You know, I'm finishing this book, and I should be done with it very shortly. I'm wanting to submit that. You know, I tried to submit it the other day. I went into town, tried to submit it the other day. I was getting hacked right and left. This thing was shutting down. I tried to submit it to a publisher, you know, just an unfinished manuscript. It's really important. I have been severely targeted, you know. I'm a former Black Ops whistleblower, you know. I was involved in the operation that made 9/11 happen because it wasn't going to happen. It wasn't going to happen. You can refer to my other videos, you know, to get some more details on that. But I go into great detail, in my book, my upcoming book, Eugenics, Sports, and Fire Years. And it's about all this kind of thing. And it's about this long history, this long chain of abuses which I've suffered in my life. I've been targeted since very early age. And they do this, and they base it off of somebody's astrological chart and then their family's history. Came to find out, my father had been interfered with, and they'd, Interpol or the CIA or some kind of organization down in Mexico, they'd brought him in due to some of his activities, things that he was involved in, and I don't know, I really don't know the details on that. He was, before he died, he wrote a book, but it never got published, and then I don't think we have it anymore. No, I don't think we have it anymore. That's a real shame, It's a real shame. But that's not it. I mean, that was only one aspect of the book, and just a fiction, set in the 1960s. All this kind of stuff, really, it's old news. It's been done before. I'm a little discombobulated right now, and it's hard to convey the right ideas in an orderly sequence, due to this Mercury retrograde and if these rocks were blue calcite, I could speak more clearly, but I got to get out of here, I got to get out of here. I should receive a payment tomorrow. I don't get paid any other way, I don't get paid any other way. They interfere with all that. No royalties from my other book. The GoFundMe pages, I mean, nothing. I don't know if anybody's tried to contribute. I don't know. It's a worthy cause. I mean, there are different things I want to do. I've had some legal trouble. I'm trying to, I've been persecuted by the state organization. They're suppressing my writings and my artwork, and they're hanging on to that. They've sold it off. I don't know what's happened. I need to hire a lawyer to get that back or get restitution, get compensated for that. There's no amount of compensation that can cover it. There's no amount, That stuff was solid gold, I've glimpsed into certain futures, where they do give it back to me. Say, oh well, we're glad you've taken this course, and it's all this hush hush crap, and I have to sign this non-disclosure agreement. All this stupid shit, all this stupid evil fucking shit that absolutely should be illegal. All this kind of stuff, these kind of operations, this kind of shit is so fucking abusive. It's so disgusting. Yes, when I discussed this long chain prevision and all these possibilities, and with my handler in the Marine Corps, or what did he say? He says, "What if you could be the greatest hero? What would you do? What course could you take?" Say, no, not in some other life, not some proposed thing, where you're out in some other country, or you're doing some high levels, high level stuff. But in your own life, this is what they do. This is the kind of shit that they do with people. This is the kind of shit that they do with people. And they expend people, and they use people up on these ridiculous social engineering schemes. And it is to aggrandize themselves. It is to develop, bulk up the security state. It is for job security. It's for all this evil shit. And it's to provoke the next stage of development in terms of these mind control technologies, in terms of, it's for their future, the future. These people are so vain. They're so fucking vain. They're so fucking prideful. And they'll do anything.